Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Affiliate Party Podcast. I gotta change that title. It's me, Tony Rizzano, coming to you live September the 2nd, 2020. You know, you have to think about, before we get started on the podcast, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a little search engine optimization, or SEO. Everything you do is, any headline, anything like that, you know, you want to try to make it SEO friendly so people can find it. People will find you. They will find what you're talking about, what your website and everything like that. That's one thing that I have to get better at when it comes to the podcast. I've figured out SEO on the website. You know, I know how to write a blog post and make it, good. And now I just got to work on the website itself with the backlinks and everything like that. But I'm not to word the article with the keywords and everything like that. But when you do videos, when you do podcasts, I know I've said this before, but you have to say it. You got to say this stuff over and over sometimes, because we are all trying to rank in something, So when you're doing a podcast, when you think of if you think of the title before, say the title in the first, a couple of sentences. That's something I had to work on. When I hit record on these podcasts, most of the time I know what I want to talk about. I never know the title. I have to work on figuring out the title, so that way I can do the keyword into the title and weave it into this whole podcast, so you can start. So it can, because people find the podcast. Don't get me wrong, people are downloading it, but you want to pick up the speed. You start rolling down the hill. You want to get the momentum going and going and going. So you just have to, because everything is, anything can be searched. Anything can be searched. So you want to make sure you have good keywords for whatever you're doing: videos, podcasts, website. It don't matter, whatever. You want to make sure you have keywords into these different things. Now, anyway, today we're going to talk about a couple of different things. One, quickly, we're going to talk about fear, overcoming the fear, and then we're going to talk about when should you create a course, which I know we talked a little bit about yesterday, but sometimes it doesn't hurt to go over something again and again and again. It's just like I listened to this audiobook once, like 4 times, in back-to-back days. I listened to the same audiobook, just because it helps. It helps sometimes. But anyway, fear. What are you afraid of in this whole, marketing business? What are some fears that you might have? I will tell you one that I had when I first got started. One thing I had when I first got started is the fear of talking about myself, and just the fear of putting myself out there, because as we all know, the more you're known, the more people will criticize you. People will love you, but then it will be some people that just actually despise you for, no apparent reason. People just, people, they see you, you know how it goes. You get too big, it's like people that they love indie rock, but then when their favorite indie band gets big, they're like, nope, I don't like them anymore. They're commercial. I'm done. That's it. But, the indie band, they go from making, a few bucks a show to, they blow up, and they on the commercials, they go to making like $50,000 a concert, you know what I'm saying? So, and then of course, as you know, some people, when they get, the bigger they get, the more commercial they do get, but, it's like, hey, they did great music and nobody listened. Then they did this commercial stuff. They started getting paid. It's sort of like, which one do you of course with this, like, some people are going to hear this podcast and they're going to enjoy it, and some people are going to actually be like, I hate his voice, I don't like him, I don't like what he says, I don't like the way he curses, blah, 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 blah. Whatever, So, I thought about that when I first got, I said, man, I got to put myself out here, I'm not used to all that, I've been doing the same job for 15 years, and this job, you're sort of invisible, basically, you know what I mean? Like, nobody really, even at the job, even at the company, a couple of companies I work for, these people don't even know your name. They know You just tell them truck number, ID, driver ID. They go, oh yeah. Oh, you been here for a while, okay. Blah 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 blah. But when I first got started, I said, shit, marketing. Because of course, we all know when you're doing affiliate marketing, any kind of marketing, you have to market yourself. You have to. If you have a company, even if you have a company, you have to market. You have to come out and say, hey, this is my company. This is the great company. Blah blah blah. Especially when you're first getting started, when you're in the throes of this thing, you have to be out there. You know what I'm saying? Like now, of course, I probably said his name yesterday because I just got there and listened to an audio book. But it's like Jeff Bezos when he do interviews with anybody in 1999. Now not so much, but 1999 he did interviews with anybody and everybody, and it's sort of the same as I listened to this audio book about Walt Disney. It was like 25 hours. If you ever want to listen to an audio book, or if you ever want to read a book about business, that book, that Walt Disney book, it's about, the author was named Neil Gabler. I listened to that a while ago, but it was a very good book. Walt Disney was a very determined guy. But anyway, when he wanted to boost his ratings up, so they was like, Walt, we need you on TV, buddy. And he's like, I don't want to be on TV. I don't want to be on TV. And they was like, hey, you got to be on TV. You got to do it, So they put him on TV, and it made the show one of the most popular shows on Sunday, and it helped Disney. It propelled the Disneyland and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? But I'm sure he probably had a fear of TV. Who knows? But he overcame that. So. It's always a fear when you're doing this kind of stuff, like maybe you are afraid to be on the camera, and you have to overcome that, How do you overcome these things? The main thing I will tell you is just start doing it, and just keep doing it. And at first, listen, trust me, at first, nobody. The first week you do YouTube or whatever, unless you got a bunch of people that want to watch your videos. If you're like me, and I just started doing the podcast, I didn't tell a bunch of friends that I knew. I didn't give a shit about that. I'm not looking for anybody's opinion, when it comes to my friends or anything like that. Like I know a guy, he started a YouTube channel. He told everybody and their brother, he's like, subscribe to my YouTube channel. He's looking for that support. That's cool and everything. But me, nah. I was like, I'm just gonna get in here and do this podcast. I'm gonna overcome all this jazz about me being nervous or me putting myself out there. I was like, in order for me to get to where I want to go, I gotta do it. I just gotta do it. Now we're gonna take this podcast has been going strong for the last 6-7 weeks. We're gonna take this podcast and gotta figure out a way to start uploading them on the YouTube, and then we're gonna take it from there, the podcast, to just doing straight videos on YouTube, and we're gonna keep it going, and eventually we're going to build a bigger and bigger audience, and of course, there are going to be people that are not going to like me, and blah, 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 but, I just you just can't care after a while, Now it's like, if somebody listens to the podcast and they don't like it one time, oh well, who cares, There's enough people out there in the world that people will come, as long as you just keep doing it, and, you market yourself, people will like you, people will latch on to the show, and you'll take it from there, not everybody's going to like you, that's one thing that I had to get over. I'm just like, damn, people gonna judge me, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right, I gotta get over that. I don't care, So, what are some fears you might have when it comes to, starting a business, doing a business, My wife, she, I know I talk about her quite a bit in the podcast, but my wife, I remember when she first, she was working, she worked at where she owns the business now, but when she was working there, her boss said, hey, would you like to buy this business? And my wife, she came home, and this is before we got married, and she was like, I don't know. She's like, I don't know anything about business. I don't know anything about this type of stuff. And I was like, and she was like, what do you think? I was like, go for it. What else? You don't got nothing else to lose, I'm like, if it works, it works out. If it don't, you can always figure something else out, and that was 5 or 6 years ago, and her business has been rocking and rolling since. So, in her first couple months, one thing that she called me up, and I remember her first few months, like by the 4th month, she had like everybody quit or whatever, And so she was all nervous and she was crying and everything, and she's like, see, and then we just we had to talk, and she calmed down, and she was like, she was fearful of that, but she bounced back quickly, we went out and ate or whatever. She slept it off, came back, hired better people than the ones she had before, and she overcame that hurdle, but one of her fear was just owning the business in general, because she never done it before, you know what I mean? So she overcame that fear. I had to overcome this fear. I had to overcome a couple of fears in my life. I remember one. When I was in the Navy, and talking to women, I was always nervous, I would always, start, stuttering, and I would be real, especially if it was like a stranger. If I knew him for a long time, then I could go up to him and say, hey, blah, blah, blah. But just a complete stranger, and so like cold calling somebody, you know what I mean? So I had to one day. I said, I was sitting on the trolley, the San Diego trolley, the blue line. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but so I'm sitting there and I see this girl, and I go, shit. And I go, I'm never gonna see her again. So I need to just, muscle up and get over. I need to get over myself, I was like, what's the big deal? She says no, And of course, I walked up to her, and then I started talking, real fast. And she said, you can sit down if you want, I said, oh, good. So I sat there, and then of course, I missed my stop because I was just talking, and then she gave me her number. Of course, it didn't all work out or whatever, but that don't matter. But the point was that I overcame the nervousness that I used to get about just approaching a strange person and being like, hey, I think I like you. Let me get your number, So that was one thing that I, overcame. I don't have to worry about that anymore because I'm married, but still, those are things like that. That's like another thing I would tell you. Another fear that I had when I was calling people on the phone to talk about, hey, would you like to get involved into, like when I signed up for MLM one time. And so, of course, they're like, call your friends and family. But I'm like, no, none of my friends, none of my family gives two shits about starting a damn business, So I really wanted to do this. So I was like, I had to just call people. And I was like, damn, how am I going to call anybody? I don't know anything about selling. I don't know anything about anything. So I remember the first phone call. I said, you know what? I had the butterflies in my stomach. I was very nervous. I was very, I was just like, okay, I'm going to do it. And so I called the guy, and I was like, hey, man, what's going on? And he was like, yeah, I help you. And then, of course, I was like, yeah. Are you interested in? And then he was like, no, that's a damn scheme. And then he hung up in my face. So I was like, oh, shit. So he hung up in my face, and I was like, damn, I can't believe this, man. I was like, what's wrong with this guy, man? Why he hang up on me like that? And yeah, so then of course I didn't call people for another 3 days because I was shell shocked. But I came back and I called a couple more people, and then I called a couple more people, and yeah, it got a little better, I mean, the company wasn't for me, of course, but I got better at the calling people and just started talking a little bit more, and now if I ever get into another affiliate program where they're like, hey, you could call people, I would be able to pick up the phone and get on the phone pretty quickly and be like, hey, what's going on? I could do it real fast, but fear, you just want to overcome that. It's hard, but it's not hard, Once you do it, the first few times, it gets a lot easier, So that's all I can say. I mean, the only thing I did was, at first I was like, I gotta listen to all these motivational. I will give you this point before I talk about content creation. But I was like, I gotta listen to all these motivational tapes. You don't gotta do all that. all you gotta do is just take a deep breath and go, all right. They're either gonna say yes or no when it comes to business, you know. You either want to sign up or you don't, you know. You want to join my email list? Join the email list. You don't, you know. It's either yes or no. It's not a big deal if they say no, you know. I mean, I know I can say that now because I've heard enough no's, you know. So, and once you hear no so many times, you're like, all right, it's not a big deal. Some people are gonna say no, some people are gonna say yes, you know. Don't make it out to be a big deal, but you don't need to listen to 1,000 motivational tapes. I mean, sometimes y'all need to pick me up, but you know, don't bump your head. Don't bump your head too hard against it. You know, it all work out. But that's that. Now, let's talk about content creation. All right, and we will talk about that, of course, after the break. All right, everybody. Now, this is going to be a quick segment. We talked long enough about fear, you know. But anyway, we're going to quickly talk about when should you create a course. Now, of course, as we talked about this before, we just talked about this yesterday. Creating a course is something that you can do. It doesn't have to be a big course. It doesn't have to be a $2,500 course. You just want to get in the habit of creating your own content so you can have something to sell. You can use it with your affiliate products. More content you create, PDFs, whatever they are, videos, whatever they are, you can use them for your business. You know, just think about them as extra bullets in your business. Because say if you do relationships, what if you're in the relationship niche, and you might be being an affiliate of a product that says, hey, we can save married couples. You might be somebody that's married, so you can do a little, you know, you can do a little 5-part video about how to stay married, or, you know, how were you able to have your spouse stick around with you for, you know, 5-10 years or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You can take anything from your life and apply it to content creation. You know, just don't go on YouTube and say, oh, I should do this like this person, that person. Anything that has happened to you in your life, just like in the last segment, I talked about being on the trolley from 20 years ago, being on the trolley and applying that to fear, you know, because it's all true. You know, everything you've done in your life up to this point is usable, and everything that you will start doing in your business is usable. You know, any and everything. Sometimes you just have to jog your memory and write this stuff down. You know, it's one thing I do every Sunday. I just flush everything out and write stuff down. You know, I can apply this to this. I can apply that to that. You know, and me myself, I have an idea for a PDF that I'm thinking it should be a book, but I don't know if it's gonna be a PDF or a book. But I have the idea. I got the outline. Now I just have to write it. I just have to finish writing it. And I don't know if I should I don't know if I should pay somebody to edit the book, or should I do it myself? You know, that's the only thing that I really don't know. But when it comes to your content creation, you can use, you know, anything that you like, the podcast you do, the videos you do, you can repackage all this stuff and use it as content. Because I remember I saw a guy a couple months ago. He was being an affiliate for a book. Now, you know, I guess they was have some kind of contest where if whoever signed up the most people to get the book or whatever, they would win a prize, I guess. So this guy, he had all these bonuses he was giving out. You know, I mean, I don't know if they were good or not, but the guy had a lot of content that he had created, and he was using. He's like, you'll get this bonus, you'll get that bonus, you'll get this, you'll get that, blah 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 blah. And I was looking at that and I was like, man, I gotta definitely create more content. So eventually, if I want to promote somebody's book, because a lot of times they have these contests on you know, and like the affiliate websites, you know, like JVZoo and ClickBank. If you want to promote somebody's product, they have a contest and say whoever signs up the most people, you'll get like a prize or whatever, you know. So if you have content that you created and you say, hey, you sign up with this link, you'll get this, you'll get that entice more people. So that's why I preach a lot of times, probably too many times, about content creation, how we should all be creating more content, you know. Don't just constantly consume content. That's one thing that I have to do, because I mean, at some point, you know, you start learning a lot of this stuff, and you're like, all right, I'm learning, but it's like, I need to start applying this stuff. You know what I mean? So now I'm more of a content creator than a content listener. You know what I mean? So, you know, listen to a little bit of stuff, but apply anything that you learn and go for it, you know. Just like I said before, you know, you don't really need 100 motivational videos. You don't need all that jazz. You don't need a whole bunch of how do I do this, how do I do that. I mean, certain books I've read that talks about writing and things like that that I bought, you know, that I just apply, you know, and I use them. I mean, I read them a little bit, and then I just go for it now, you know. I don't do a lot, because 2 years ago I was doing more content listening than content creation. I would go, okay. Then it'd be like a month. I've learned all this stuff in a month, and I'm like, I haven't did anything, you know. So it's just a waste of time. So create as much content as you can. You can always, like I said yesterday, you can reapply it, you reuse it, you know. You can take an email, make it into a longer blog post. You can take a blog post, make it into an email. You know, it's all kind of things you can do with the content that you create. So be free with your content. Use it, you know. Tie it in a nice box, put it in a package. You can sell it yourself. You can do whatever, you know. But just be creating content. I know I say that all the time. I probably say it too much. But I want everybody. I want you, me, and, you know, if we're gonna make it, we gotta make it. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta, if you're gonna make it out here, you wanna be in charge of yourself. You know, you don't wanna have to be dependent on somebody else's stuff. That's the basis of what I'm saying. You know. So I hope this helps. I know this was a short second segment, but we talked about fear enough. So, you know, I know these podcasts, at first they was going to be under 10 minutes, but now they're getting to like 20, 30 minutes, but that's all right. I hope you're learning. I know yesterday sounded like today's, but tomorrow we'll come with a whole different podcast, and we won't go into the same thing we did today or yesterday. But I appreciate you for listening. That's it for now. Tony Rizzano for the Affiliate Party Podcast. Still got to change that name, everybody. But anyway, take care of yourself. Hope you enjoyed this episode. We will talk to you tomorrow. And as always, peace.